What is up, guys? This is Desmond of Desmond's Flicks, and today I'm going to be doing a tour of my entire collection, everything that is right behind me here. Alright, so I've picked out some films out of my collection, just focusing on the Blu-rays today, because if I went through my DVDs as well, went through every single story for every Blu-ray and DVD, we'd be here for a very long time. So we're gonna go through these horror Blu-rays. So I'm starting with numbers first. 30 Days of Night. I love this movie. This is exactly how vampires should be. Scary as all hell. I saw this in theaters when it first came out and freaking loved it. This is one that I watch at least once a year. As soon as it starts to become winter, I throw this on and it's like the perfect winter film. If you haven't seen 30 Days of Night, check this one out. It's an awesome vampire flick. Next up is a classic. This is my personal favorite. I love the entire franchise, but the original is my favorite hands down, and that is Alien. Alien, when I first saw this, scared the shit out of me, and even my mom and dad, when they saw this in theaters when it first came out, it scared the shit out of them. So it's just a classic sci-fi horror film. You can never go wrong with this movie, and it never gets old. This next film is American Mary by the Soska sisters. I absolutely love this film. I adore it. Catherine Isabel is incredible in this, and she is gorgeous as ever. I always like seeing Catherine Isabel in a movie, so having her be the lead in this film, I was loving every second of it. If you haven't seen American Mary, check this one out. It's by the Soska sisters, who are some badass directors. The next one I want to talk about in my collection is American Psycho. Yet again, another classic with the incredible Christian Bale. He is so freaking good in this movie, and he's scary as hell. I'm sure most of you have seen this one, but definitely if you haven't seen it, check this one out. Now, this film came out this year. It's Annihilation. This is one of my favorite films of the year. I consider this a sci-fi horror film, and I absolutely love this movie. Badass flick. This next film is a classic. This is my favorite slasher of all time, and that is Black Christmas. Helped to define the slasher genre. It's what helped to inspire John Carpenter to do Halloween. This is just the epitome of a perfect slasher. The next film I'm gonna talk about is one that scared the crap out of me as a little kid, and it was hard for me to look at myself in the mirror after taking a shower because I was afraid that Candyman was gonna get me. The Scream Factory release of Candyman is phenomenal. They've completely restored the film, and they have tons of special features. And of course, Tony Todd and Virginia Madsen are incredible in this film. If you haven't picked up the Scream Factory release, I highly recommend picking it up. It's incredible. Next up, Carrie, classic movie, Scream Factory edition. If you haven't seen it, you gotta fix that. Watch it right now. Next one is another Stephen King adaptation, which is John Carpenter's Christine. This is right after The Shining, my second favorite John Carpenter adaptation. Christine is a perfect horror film. The next film I think is super underrated, and it's pretty freaking gnarly too, and that is The Collector. The killer in this, oh my god, he is sadistic as all hell. Check out The Collector, and The Collection is pretty good as well. The next batch of films I'm going to go through is actually a collection of this particular franchise, and that is the Child's Play series. This Blu-ray box set is freaking awesome. It has every single Child's Play movie. I personally really enjoy all of these films, except for Seed of Chucky. Seed of Chucky is just terrible. Don't watch Seed of Chucky, but watch everyone else. This next one is one that I don't hear a lot of people talking about. I am a big fan of Stuart Gordon films. If you don't know Stuart Gordon, he did ReAnimator and From Beyond and Dolls. Well, my personal favorite Stuart Gordon film is Dagon. If you know anything about Stuart Gordon, you know that he is super into Lovecraftian stories, and Dagon is one of those. This is straight up the inspiration for Resident Evil 4, the video game. Check out Dagon. And speaking of Stuart Gordon, another one that I highly recommend is Dolls. I used to watch this over and over again with my older brother when I was a kid, and it still holds up today. Really great stop motion animation in this film. It's super fun. Check this one out. Nothing else really needs to be said about this one. Day of the Dead. Classic George A. Romero with Tom Savini special effects. The Devil's Candy. This is by Sean Byrne, who also directed The Loved Ones, which is one of my favorite horror films of the last 15 years. The Devil's Candy is his second film that he's done, and it's phenomenal. Drag Me to Hell, Sam Raimi, and it's awesome. There's nothing really else to say about it. Get the Scream Factory edition. The Evil Dead remake. I know some people don't like this one. I actually really like it a lot. Evil Dead 2. I mean, come on. Evil Dead 2 is a classic. The next one is another one that doesn't really need an introduction, and that's Friday the 13th. Another Stuart Gordon film, which is one of my other personal favorites, which is From Beyond. Any chance I get to see Barbara Crampton is a good day in my book. This is one of my favorite films from 2017, and that's Get Out. I know some people say that it's overhyped. I saw it opening night, and the hype hadn't quite gotten to me, and I loved it, and I still love it. I think it's a great film. Another set of films that doesn't really need an introduction, and that is Halloween. I love this collection. This next film is my favorite film of 2018 when it comes to horror films, and that is Hereditary. If you haven't seen it, check it out. This movie scared the shit out of me when I saw this in theaters. This next one is my favorite werewolf movie, and that is The Howling. This is absolutely perfect, and I love Dee Wallace. I had the chance to meet her over at Mad Monster Party earlier this year, and she is so sweet, so cool. In the Mouth of Madness is a super underrated John Carpenter flick. If you haven't seen this, I highly recommend checking it out, and especially getting the Scream Factory release. Killer Clowns from Outer Space is a movie I watched a lot as a kid, especially with my older brother. We watched this over and over and over again. The Arrow video release of this is great. It's all been remastered. This film is now a Christmas tradition for me to watch every Christmas, and that is Krampus. I love this movie. It's a lot of fun. This is a movie I actually saw in theaters with my parents as a little kid, and yeah, it freaked me out. And this is another Stephen King adaptation, and that is Misery. Holy crap, this movie rocks. Night of the Demons. This is just plain old fun. Really great movie to watch on Halloween with some cool special effects, and as always, the wonderful Linnea Quigley. Another franchise that needs no introduction, and that is A Nightmare on Elm Street. I pretty much love every single one of them. The only one that I really can't stand is The Dream Child. I effing hate that movie with a passion. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Stuart Gordon is one of my favorite directors of all time, and The ReAnimator is my second favorite of his films besides Dagon. Return of the Living Dead. This one's a ton of fun. I always love seeing Linnea Quigley. She is just a riot in every film that she's in. Another one of my favorite films of this year is Revenge. Holy crap, does this movie freaking rock. I recently covered this film in a review, and that is Silent Night, Deadly Night. This is my second favorite Christmas horror film. It is not a nice movie. This is the antithesis of what Christmas is all about, but I love it. Plus, how can you not love it when Billy's walking around and saying, "Punishment is necessary, Pamela"? Next up is The Shining, yet another Stephen King adaptation. Shocker! This is a Wes Craven film. I remember seeing this back in the 80s as a kid. I thought it was freaking awesome how he basically jumps from body to body through electricity and the television, and there's this big fight between him and the protagonist in the film where they're going from channel to channel and fighting each other. It's a freaking hilarious film. This is in my top 10 favorite horror films of all time, right after The Thing, and that is Suspiria by Dario Argento. Holy crap, is this movie freaking amazing. The release by Synapse for this Blu-ray release is really well done. They've completely restored the film. They have some really great special features. Another one of my favorite films of this year is Terrifier. This is directed by Damien Leone and stars David Howard Thornton as Art the Clown. Vicious and nasty and just plain old crazy as all hell. Another film that needs no introduction is The Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It's Tobe Hooper's best film. His second best film, in my opinion, is Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. I know some people don't like this movie. I love TCM 2. The Thing. I never get tired of watching this movie. This is one of those films that I can watch over and over and over again and never get bored with it. And for a film that is so incredibly bleak and depressing, it's incredibly entertaining. This is another one of my favorite films, and that is Trick or Treat. This is my favorite horror anthology when it comes to Halloween. One of my other favorite films of this year is Leigh Whannell's Upgrade. This is a phenomenal film, and I consider this an action body horror film. This one is a recent Scream Factory release, and I'm so happy to have this in my collection, and it's a fun, goofy slasher, and that is Urban Legend. I like this and Scream from that late 90s era where all the teenagers were very self-aware. This is a film that every single time I watch it, I crack the hell up, and that is What We Do in the Shadows. It's freaking hilarious, and it's always a good time to watch this one with friends. Another film that is a slasher classic in my mind is You're Next. This is the best final girl of all time. Like, she could kick everyone's ass in any slasher, because she is just that much of a badass. I'm so excited for the sequel of this coming out. I believe it's coming out next year, and that's Zombieland. I saw this in theaters when it first came out, absolutely loved it, and it's quickly become one of my favorites of all time. And that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, checking out my collection, checking out my nerd cave. Thank you so much for stopping by, and if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, and if you want to see more content like this, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Thank you guys so much again for coming by, and I'll see you guys next time.